All right, welcome back to our online Bits and Bytes lessons from Youth Code Jam. Today we're going to be switching to a different online platform. We're going to be using something called Kano Make Art instead of Scratch, just to kind of change things up a bit. So hope everyone's ready to get started. Just a reminder, our new lessons, we'll upload them online on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then we'll hold Q&A sessions at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. These Q&A sessions are really important for us because they allow us to see how students are working with the materials and what might need to be changed or improved on, and also to hear from the parents if they're working with the students on these activities to see their thoughts and reactions to things. So we would really love if you guys could register. And to do that, you're just going to come here to this register link. It's the same all the time, and we've set it up as a recurring meeting. So you only have to, when you go in, you can choose all the sessions that we have planned out to sign up for and do it all in one go. Or you can just sign up for the one now and come back later if you decide to sign up for more of the sessions. You will need Zoom. You don't have to download ahead of time. If you click on the link, it will force you to download the software onto whatever device you're on, but it is helpful to get it set up and test it out to make sure that your audio is working. The camera is great. We would love to see the students and have them share their screen with us if it's possible so that they can show off what they've done. But if it's not, at the very least, it's best to have audio working so that they can talk to us and ask questions. That is not a link we need. So there actually aren't any materials for this one because we're just going to be walking through a basic thing online. So I'm actually going to come to we're going to use Safari today. We're going to go to, so in a browser, I'm going to just type in the search. I think it's Kano, oops, there we go. So it's KANO.me. All right, so this is called, so it's part of this, but this is harder to get to. So instead I'm going to type in Kano Make Art into my search bar, and this is the one we are, art.kano.me. That's what I forgot. So it's the art.kano.me, but I'm just going to click this first one right here. And so Kano has some pre-set up challenges or activities that we can do. Today we're going to start with the basic and just learn how to use it. So the biggest difference between Kano and Scratch, as far as how it works, is that Kano is going to do some typing. And the great thing about doing this online is that if you're not used to typing or a little slower, you can pause as we go. And also that Kano has the instructions right on the workspace we'll be in, so you don't have to switch back and forth. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the basic and just kind of walk us through. So I'm going to hit the sunny day challenge and start. You do not ever need to create an account. If you want to, you're welcome to. I'm not. So let's just do a quick little tutorial here. So this space up here where my cursor is, this is where our instructions are going to appear. When you first start out, it's going to tell you exactly what to type. And if you're struggling, you can click on the hint. I'm going to try not to click there until we hit a struggle spot though. Down here, this is our workspace where you see the number 1 and the cursor flashing here. So that's where we're going to type in our commands, and then it will show up over here. And this is kind of like our little screen or picture. So we aren't going to really need to go into these, I'm going to call them drawers, to keep our language connected to Scratch, but you can click on it. If you click on, this is the shapes, you can see all the different shapes that you can draw, the commands and the values associated with them, parameters associated with them, so that you can draw a polygon or you can draw an arc or a rectangle. These are how you would use a line. We'll see a lot of these today. Changing position of your cursor, which is this little kind of cross mark here in the middle of your screen, is called the cursor. adding text if you want to send a message, which we'll do on Thursday with our activity. So we're starting off with this basic one because it will feed into Thursday's activity. So it's really good to get used to it, understand how everything works. And this is just some other stuff. So those are more tools that you can use if you want to keep practicing on your own or if you need to check something. For today, I'm going to stay up here in the code option. And so we're going to get to work. So the first thing I'm going to type is background blue. So click inside the workspace, make sure that cursor is blinking, and then type background with a space. So what's important in this one is that you have to type it exactly. And you saw how once I typed it exactly right, it switched to the next command and the progress bar moved. So we're about, I think this one has 3 steps. We're about a third of the way through and my screen turned blue. So the next thing we'll do is you'll hit your enter or return key on your keyboard so that line 2 appears, because each command has to go on its own line, otherwise you'll get an error. So I'll show you that real quick. So if I tried to type color yellow, you can come over here and you'll see a syntax error. It's saying blue is not a function. So it thinks I'm trying to do a whole bunch of commands with a weird variable. So I'm going to come and take my cursor, place it in front of the C of color and hit enter. And this is kind of where things get tricky because sometimes when we make those mistakes, it doesn't always correct. So I can go to, I'm going to hit reset. So that is kind of an annoying flaw, is that even if you go back and fix your mistake, sometimes Kano doesn't automatically update it. So background blue, color yellow. Okay, so now we're going to draw a circle to be our sun. And so we're going to type in circle and then 150, and 150 is the size. So it's saying it's 150 in diameter. And there we have the sun. So we're going to hit next. And this time we're going to draw a Swiss flag. Okay, so up here again, it's telling us to turn our background to red. Okay, so stroke is kind of the outline of a shape. And we're telling the stroke that we want it to be 66. So that's our weight of the stroke, how thick that outline is going to be. And then on line 3, we're changing the stroke color to white. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to draw a line. So we're going to introduce, last time we did a simple circle, this time we're going to introduce some stuff we saw in the line drawer. So we're going to type in line 100. Okay, so 100, let's talk about the numbers real quick, because you'll see on line 5, we're going to draw a line negative 100. So our cursor starts in the middle, and this is considered with coordinates. So using the X and Y axis, some of you may have seen in math, where X is left and right, and Y is up and down. And so when you go from the center to the right, you're going in a positive direction. And if you go from the center to the left, you're going in a negative direction. So for last time we drew a line going from 0 to 100, and it went towards the right. So we went to the positive. Now we're going to draw the line going to the left, so that's why we're using a negative 100. So on line 5, remember to hit enter after each successful command. So on line 5, we're going to type in line negative 100. And if you don't know where the negative sign is, it's right up by the 0. You don't need to hit the shift key or anything like that. You just hit that button once. And now I'm going to bring it down. Okay, so now we're going to go up and down. And just like left and right, we're going to start at the 0 point. And to go up, it's going to go to 100. And to go down, it's going to go to negative 100. We're going to do a quick debugging, I think, on this line. Debugging is there's an error, and we're going to figure out what it was. Kind of like how we did in the circle, the sun icon where I showed you the syntax error, we're going to do that. I'm going to try to make sure to introduce those. So if you see them, you can kind of understand what they mean. And usually these syntax errors are very clear. You'll sometimes notice that when we're typing, the picture might disappear. It's because it's processing what we're typing, but we haven't finished yet. So if I'm going to do, so that didn't take. So I'm going to leave off the E and then type 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is a common thing. Typing, especially when you're new, you're going to leave off letters or mix letters up. So you'll come down here and usually you'll find something like syntax error, which is a typo or command issue. And so it says can't find variable ln. So right now it doesn't know that that's a command, but we know that that was supposed to be line. So I'm just going to take my cursor and click after the N and type in an E. And now we're good to go. And I can go back to line 7 and type in line 0, negative 100. And you see, there's our Swiss flag. And we're going to go to the next one. So this time we're going to draw some eyes in the dark. And this one's they will get more challenging and they will stop showing us the commands exactly in the blocks. So right here, set the background to black. It's not showing me the code, but we've done it twice. So we know we just need to type background, space, black. And if you ever wanted to change your background color without typing, you can hover over the color like this and just click into it once and this little menu will pop up and these are all the color options that are supported in this editor. All right. So I'm going to click outside of black because we want it to stay dark and hit enter. So we go on to line 2. So now we're using the move command, and what the move command is going to do is move our cursor from the center to wherever we tell it to go. So this is going to move our cursor negative 80. So we're going to move to the left here. So if we type it, move negative 80. You saw my screen just flashed white. It was saying there's an error, but there wasn't. We just weren't finished. Okay, so then we're going to see the cursor moved from the center to over here. Okay. Now we're going to set our drawing color to white. So if you remember back in the last step, in step 1 where we changed the sun color, we used color and then white. Okay? So you're not going to see any change. We're just setting it. We're just telling it we're going to draw something that's going to be white. We're not telling it to turn anything white at the moment. Okay, so now we're going to draw an ellipse. An ellipse is kind of a fancy word for an oval. So it's kind of a long word, especially if you haven't seen it before, but that's okay. Just type slow. It's E-L-L-I-P-S-E. And then we have 2 numbers that follow. So the 60 is going to be our width. So it's going to start from, I think, here on the cursor and go this way. I could be wrong, but it's how long it is going from left to right. So that's our left and right value. And then the 40, yep. Okay, so it draws it from the middle. So it's 30 this way, 30 that way, 60 across, and then 20 up, 20 down, 40 up and down total. So it draws it out from the center. So the second number is the Y value, how tall it is, and then the first number is the X value or how wide it is, okay? So we're gonna hit 5, and now we're changing our color to black. So again, you're not gonna see anything, and this time we're going to draw a circle with the size of 10, and that's gonna appear, whoops. So you saw that, right? I forgot my space. So it gave me the can't find variable. That's gonna be the most common one you see, I think, is because of typos. So I'm gonna click in between the E and the 1, and add a space, and now you can see the pupil was drawn inside the eye. And we'll move on to the next one. But real quick, so a lot of times you don't have to go in and type. You can click on these, the blue values, these values that we type in, and use them and use that pop-up. So this slider will increase the size of my eye, of the pupil of the eye, but we really want it to be size 10 for this one. But just so you can see how that works, I'm using my cursor to move that. Okay, well, it's going to be easier for me to go back in and type that. Okay, so on line 7, we're now going to move our cursor from negative 80 to positive 160 over here. So type in move 160. We're going to change our color back to white. So I'm not reading out these directions. I'm just kind of glancing at them and doing it. But if you need to double check, the directions are all up here of what to do. So it gives you the explanation. Now draw another ellipse with a width of 60 and a height of 40. So we're going to draw our second eye. And then it gives you the code here because it knows this is new code for this activity. Okay. So I'm clicking back in here. I am familiar with this activity, so I can kind of go through it a little faster and just kind of show you what's going on. Oh, you see how I typed a 60 there instead of a 40? I have a really tall eye, but you see how that's a perfect circle. So if you make X and Y here the same value, you'll get a perfect circle. If I left that as 60 and made this 40, my ellipse would go in the opposite direction. It would be taller than it is wide. But we want that first number to be 60 and the second to be 40. And we're going to hit enter. And now we're changing the color back to black because we're going to draw the second pupil. And then circle 10. And you should have some eyes peeking out of the darkness here. A little scary maybe, a little creepy. But now we're going to do our first smiley face. So we're going to repeat probably some things we just did in the first lesson. So these might disappear for a little bit. So our first step is we're going to set our color to yellow. And then we're going to make the stroke color black and set it to size 20. So if you remember in step 1, I think, or no, in exercise 2 with the Swiss flag, we set stroke color and width separately. You don't always have to do that with a comma. Some commands will let you do multiple settings on each line. So here we set it to black and made it a width of 20. And now we're going to draw a circle using the circle command to a size of 200. So in those few lines, we did this whole circle, which looked like probably when you clicked on it, that just doing that might take a lot, but it really only took 3 lines. Okay, so now we're going to move our cursor down and to the left. So move -80 to the left and -80 down. And then we're going to set our color to black here and draw a circle with a radius of 20. So the radius is from the center of the circle outward, in case you haven't taken geometry yet or haven't gone over that in school yet. So the radius starts at the center and goes outward, which is why our everything's drawn from the cursor out. Okay, so we're going to draw our second eye and move to the right 160 and draw another circle with the size of 20. So I'm not putting units like inches or centimeters on these because I don't really know what the units are that Kano uses. I know if you're familiar with web design, you typically use something like points or pixels or ems. So it's whatever it is, it's a very, very small measurement, probably something like points or pixels. But for now, I'll just say the number because the units don't really matter for us. Okay, and now we're going to move our cursor down so that we can draw the face. So we're going to move. So I think I've been wrong. Yes, I've been wrong. So I was telling you up was positive, but it's counting up as negative. So it's saying we're going backwards to go up and forwards to go down because we're going to move down to do the face, and the Y value is 270. So this is a little backwards to what is intuitive or what you might expect, and that just depends on how the developers decided to approach it. So now we're going to use something called an arc to make the smiley face. And an arc, you know what it is. It's kind of what a rainbow is, but we're probably going to do an upside down arc here. So the first value is 100, and that's our length. Then we're going to have 1 and 2. So I'm not super familiar with these other values, the 1 and the 2. So we're going to click over into our shapes drawer and go check it out. So we have arc radius, which was the 100. So we're telling it that its radius was going to be from here to here 100. And then start. So 1 was the start and 2 was the end. So we drew it from 1 to 2. 1 to 2 what? I don't really know, but 1 to 2. Okay, so click back on the code here if you clicked off of it and hit the next button. And we're going to draw a balloon. And you're probably thinking, that seems really simple, and it probably will be. Because like I said, this is the basic just to get you used to what's going on in here. So set stroke to 0. We don't want any lines. Draw a circle the size of 100. Move the cursor to 0, 100. Okay, now we're going to draw a polygon. And a polygon are things like a triangle or a hexagon or a pentagon, an octagon. Anything that's not a circle, ellipse, or square is going to probably fall under the polygon label. And what we have here is going to be 15, 15, negative 15, 15. These are all points. So I think we're drawing a little triangle here. So these are all going to be the connecting points. We're going to have polygon 15, 15, negative 15, and then 15 again. So we started at, let's see. So we started here, and then we moved our cursor here to draw, and then moved it here, and moved it back, is what I believe happened. Okay, so we're going to hit enter on line 6, and then we're going to click move 0, 15, enter, stroke. So you see our cursor move to the bottom of that triangle we drew, black, comma 5. So you usually don't have to have the spaces. You can add them if you want. Out of habit, I did that, but I haven't been because it's just been faster. So it shouldn't matter if you have the space after the comma or not. So line, we're going to draw it from 0 to 200. And so we have our little balloon. So it drew it from here, which it was called 0 for us now. This is our starting point, and then 100 down. So that's what's going on. Okay. Don't have too many more. But I'm going to walk through this whole set just so that if you're struggling or if you need it, you have a reference. Okay, so we're going to set stroke to black with a size of 10. And then we're going to move our cursor to 0 and negative 50. So that 0 keeps us right here in the center. And then we're going to draw the stickman body. So we're going to start with a line, 150. And then we're going to start with the arm. So we're using a lot of the line here, you'll see. Okay. Move to 0, 150. Line. I believe we're starting on the leg. I'm going to scroll down just a little so that you can see the bottom of my screen. 80. So it's very, very simple. If you notice, we're just flipping the value of our X around. It's always going to the next 120 down. But if you'll see on the arm, we did negative 80 for the left arm and then 80 for the right, and same for the legs. So all we did was from our new starting point, remember the new cursor point becomes 0, 0. So each time we went 80 down on both sides. And then, well, 80 out on both sides, and then 20 down. Okay. So now move to, I think this is a new one, move to 250 and 100. So that moves our cursor way up here. And we're going to draw the head, I think. So set this, oops, typing what I see, set the stroke to 0. And now we're going to draw a many-sided polygon. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. So I'm not sure how many points this one's going to have. It's going to be a surprise. So we're going to have negative 60, 50, 0. Oops. So you see right here, I have a syntax error. It can't tell poly. I forgot the gon part. So it should say polygon, negative 60, comma 50, comma 0, comma 100, comma 60, comma 50. So I believe what happened here is that it started at this point and it went to the -60 and 50. I'm not really sure. So it went, I know it went down here because we saw this point first. So drew it out this way. And when it got to here, we could see it because there were enough sides. So even though it wasn't closed, we still had a visible shape, which is what happened on the balloon where we had the little triangle on the bottom. And then we finished it up by going back around. Okay, so you have our little stick figure. So I'm trying to click the done. It's not letting me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to challenges and click on basic. And because I'm still signed in, or I'm still active on this page, it has this one. Okay, so that was the last one, and then it will let you go to playground. This is actually going to be our activity for Thursday, and even though I'm not signed in, my cookies and my computer remembered what I did the last time. So this is kind of going to be what we make on Thursday. I'm not going to let you have too long of a look at that. But if you want to keep practicing, there's all these other challenges you can do. So there's medium, which has kind of a fun art going with it. There's a lot of new techniques in there. This one you'll get to do a gradient. What are some of the others? This is about a pixel hack. There's a summer camp theme one, so you draw things that relate to summer camp. A cute little ghost. Yeah, those have a lot more in them, I think, because they're not the basic. My personal favorite is this one called Mischief Week, because it's all Halloween stuff. I really like Halloween, so that's one for me. And if you just want to test things out, you can come up to the top here and hit playground. And then you should have an empty workspace here where you can just kind of play around with the different things and figure out what you want to draw for yourself. Okay, so yep, that's our YouTube page doing some work. This will go up there soon. So just a reminder that our lessons will be uploaded Mondays and Wednesdays, and to register, you just need to go to this link right here and sign up with an email. We will only send emails regarding these lessons. There will not be other emails sent out to you. You should not get any kind of spam from us. That's all there is. I hope you have a great Monday and hope to see you guys on our Tuesday Q&A session.